It's August the 28th, starting from a different spot today. I'm in behind College Gardens condo, College Court condo, and I don't remember what they call that one, College something. When we moved in to this one, when we were first married, this courtyard in here had much smaller trees, so it's become very nice and shady. And anyway, that's not where I'm walking. I'm going to cross over College and walk up to Badham Boulevard and down that way, which I've done before, but not recently. And then we'll come back along College probably, or maybe 13th. Sorry, it wouldn't be 13th, it'd be 15th. Yeah, and that'll be our walk this morning. The reason I'm over here is that I was at an anime convention in Saskatchewan, Ganbate, I think it's pronounced. And, I guess I won't walk on the sidewalk here. So the car's full of books. It was okay. They had us, because I was a guest, not a vendor. I wasn't in the vendor hall, as they call it. I was in the guest hall, and the guest hall didn't get the traffic one might have hoped. It was kind of out of the way, and of course, a lot of the time, the guests weren't there. They were at panels and things like that. There were some voice actors and me and some cartoonists, comics artists, I should say, that sort of thing. So, yeah, it was kind of low traffic, which means I didn't sell nearly as many books as I anticipated. I sold some. On the other hand, the table was free, so it's hard to say. Would I have done better in the vendor hall? I think I would have, but it's hard to be sure. Anyway, if I go next year, I'll probably go as a vendor. Well, let's go over and look at the frog while we're here. This, of course, is the college building, the old college, University of Regina College campus. And the frog here, hi Kirk in Vancouver, the frog here was recently refurbished. It had been falling apart, and it was restored nicely. And if you're wondering, why is there a frog here? Well, when we get around to the other side, we'll see the plaque. Here's the plaque. Let's see here. The gimbal's having trouble with it. Created by Joe Fafard in collaboration with his students. Anyway, you can read it there. It's slightly crooked. Can I straighten that out? There we go. Oops, now the gimbal says, wait, what are you doing? Stop that. I'm going to reset the gimbal here. All right, now I've made it crooked, but maybe it'll straighten itself out. Now the question is, do I go that way, or do I go that way? I'll go this way. This is the CBC and soundstage over here. And that old college building has some offices in it, including Sask Books, the publishing association I'm vice president of, again, this year. I walked over there, of course, behind the college building a few times. Don't come this way very often. I don't know if anything is being shot in the soundstage right now. There appears to be a couple of production-related vehicles there, so possibly it's in use. It's going to be quite warm today, and although it felt cool when I first stepped out, I can feel the heat in the sun. And I'm wearing a black shirt, which doesn't help. I think it's supposed to go to 28, so pretty warm today. There's the dome of the legislature building over there. When they first built it, people called it the Parliament buildings, but I got away from that because, of course, the Parliament buildings are in Ottawa, where I'll be in October, and I did a walk up around the Parliament buildings last October when I was there for CanCon, the science fiction convention I'm going to, and I'll probably do that again this year. Should have some nice fall colors by then. This is kind of a shortcut. I'm sure at one time this was just a path that I walked on. At some point they formalized it and put gravel down. I'm sure when I used to come this way years ago that there was no path here. So this is there's a theory on path making that you don't finalize them right away, you don't design them, you wait and see where people walk and then you put the path there. That's clearly what they've done here. I like gravel paths. The crunch of my feet tells me how fast I'm moving. Now, people still walk down this side, which indeed is what I'm going to do. So there's a sign for Willow Island, which I often walk by when I walk around the lake. Popular parking lot there. But I'm going to go up here and go left along this path. It's called on this side. The other side, it's Badham Boulevard, but here it has a different name. Broadway Avenue? I'm not at Broadway. Am I? I don't think so. Do I have to go back to Badham? Oh, I guess I do. Okay, this is Broadway. All right. So this was kind of out of the way. That's okay. I don't want to go up Broadway. I'm going up Badham. But I can cross here if I want and then walk down to Badham. Could do that. See how the lights work out. It used to be the CNIB building was here. And it was torn down and there were plans to build something else, but they didn't follow the proper procedures and that got put on hold. And then halted, but clearly there are plans to do something here soon. Do I cross here, or do I walk down to Badham? Shadier on the other side. Maybe I'll cross here. It's already curtailed, of course. So we're looking up Broad Street here to downtown. Badham is that intersection up there. I've walked along Broadway and I've walked over in that neighborhood a few times. Not doing that today either. This is Canadian Blood Services here, which used to be the Canadian Red Cross before the blood services were split off from the Red Cross. Oh, I'm getting quite warm already, so good thing I didn't wait any later in the day to walk. And I've got a number of things to do today, including a podcast which should have gone out yesterday, but because I was at the anime convention, I didn't get it done. With M.J. Kuhn is the author today. There you go. So, and that's the Canadian Blood Services. We will go down the street here. Hello, whoever just said hello, I haven't seen it yet. Annis, hello. Look, there I am. CBC over there again. A couple of apartment condo buildings is what you're seeing there. Edward Tower, where I No, it wouldn't be the Edward Tower. The office building's further down. The Edward Tower would be over another couple of blocks. This is the lobby. I've only ever been here once. Alice was there for something, my daughter, not too long ago. We weren't impressed the one time we went, but that was years ago, so it's probably, and it was new, so it's probably hit its stride now. Derek Olson Goldsmith, he made my wedding ring, but he didn't used to be located here. Subway, Naked Bean. Where I am right now, the university is up that way. From here, it would take me about a half hour to walk. Maybe less. So not a huge distance, no. There's a number of businesses along here, and then there's condos up above. When I first moved to Regina, this whole area was community gardens. So these are relatively new. Several years now, but relatively new. And then as we go on down this way, there's a seniors housing complex down here at the end that we will go by. And we'll curve around onto College and walk on down to Winnipeg Street, I think, and then come back the other way. Probably won't be a full hour today, but I do have things to do. Also, I seem to have a pebble in my shoe, a small one, very annoying. Badham Boulevard, named after Mike Badham, who was a city councillor who was killed in a car accident. More condos along here. And then more apartment style over there. These are, can't even call them semi-detached. It's basically a row houses. Very similar to the ones I walked by over in my neighborhood that were built in 1913, actually. There's 6 here. I think there's 4 in that old version of row housing. I won't go in there, it's a dead end. We'll turn to the left here. Retirement residence, College Park retirement residence. But it's nice back in here, tucked away. Don't get traffic except for people who are coming here deliberately to come here. Another question. I have no idea. I have no idea what the rental market is like. I see places for rent, but there's certainly lots near the university because they kind of cater to students. I don't even know what rent is running these days on average. It's high across the country, but I'm sure it's cheaper here than in Toronto, where I believe a 1-bedroom is currently renting for like $2,500 a month. So Some nice flowers along here. More condos over on this side. And that's part of what used to be St. Chad's, which was a seminary, and it's now been turned into condos as well, that bigger building there. We won't walk by it this time, I have before. Still has a lot of the characteristics of the old building, of course. We're going to go this way. Side of the condos, nice trees along here. I often see rabbits in this area, but I don't see any this morning. Oh, I take that back. There's one right there. Right there. See him? See him? By the tree. Oh, and another one on the path. So I am not disappointed. There are rabbits here. This is College Avenue. Whenever I look at something close up like that, I just don't know. I can't really make any recommendations. I know there are a lot of apartment buildings down very close to the university, lots. Diocese of Capel is in here. A lot of these buildings used to belong to the Anglican Church, the older ones. And then over here is, what do they call this one? Pioneer or something? It's a long-standing nursing home. Used to know somebody who lived there, long gone now, but was in there once or twice. I think I may even have sung in there. I think we'll just walk down the other side of College once we get up to Winnipeg. Look, it's the old houses over there, so I don't need to point in that direction right now. Next thing we come up to here is Balfour Collegiate, one of the older high schools. Probably the first high school in Regina I was in. I came up here for a debate tournament when I was in grade 12, probably. So I was 16. And it was held here. Might have been the year before when I was 15. I did very well at it too. In fact, my father got a call from the Leader Post with, asking about this debater that had done so well, which surprised me. I didn't think I'd blown anybody away. But I did quite well in debate. I ranked high enough in open debate to have gone to the nationals, but because I had just started, I must have just been grade 12 because I think I only did it for 1 year. I hadn't competed in enough tournaments to qualify. And so even though provincially I was 5th, I think, in open, which should have sent me to nationals, I didn't get to go because I had only done 2 or 3 tournaments. And I went straight into open. I never did novice or intermediate. Had a good debate partner too. Anyway, this is Balfour. Here's the actual front of it as we go by. And then, of course, they have a newer gym over here. The other thing about Balfour is that it's, I call it Oscana Collegiate, but it's the high school in my Shards of Excalibur series. With one major difference, it has a pool in my series, which it does not have in real life. And then there's a separate high school next to it here. Which at one point had the daycare in it. The first daycare Alice was in this building. She was very little when she was here. I remember going away for something and coming back, and this huge hug I got from her when I came in again. She hadn't seen me for a few days, and of course at that age you never know what's going on. People will come back or not. Still remember that. I think the last time I was in here was they were hosting improv when Alice was doing improv at Luther College High School. I dropped her off once for a drama competition as well here. There's an artist, Wilf Perot, that we have some pieces of that I've mentioned before. He used to teach here. So in charge of Excalibur, there's considerable stuff that happens behind this school and over in the neighborhood just across the street. My main character, Ariane, lives a couple of blocks down and another block that way. Again, not a real house, but a real location. Oh yes, and the school's called Miller. I guess I never said that. Miller Comprehensive Catholic High School. Students return September 5th. That's next week, isn't it? That is next week. On the Monday, September 5th. Okay, now we'll go up, reverse course, and walk down College back to where I started from. Oh, and I've even got a crosswalk here, which is nice. Crosswalk light, I mean. You know, as long as the bus doesn't run me over. Okay, now we'll just go down to College and look at the houses along here. Oh, someone else has said hello. Hi, Mishal, right? Is that what that says? I think so. From Bangladesh. Hello, our Mishal. Welcome. There's a very pink house with little hearts and everything. A little too cute. Wouldn't be my style. So now we're walking west, back along College Avenue. Mostly older houses along here. Many of them have been nicely kept up over the years, or recently refurbished in some cases. Oh, who else? Somebody else. Hi, Alice. I'm good. My daughter's name is Alice. There's an interesting little one. Interesting windows. I'm sure it wasn't built with that. Well, it might have been. Who knows? There's a nice stretch of original houses. A lot of new ones have been built in here. Montreal. The streets along here are all named after other Canadian cities. So you have Winnipeg back there, there's a Halifax, Montreal, St. John's. Quebec was not referring to the, I'm sure it was for Quebec City, not for Quebec the province, in keeping with the naming scheme along here. Keeping the camera pointed to the right so you can see the houses, because that straight ahead is just sidewalk. Maybe those Romanesque arched windows were a thing at the time that these houses were being built, because they don't mostly have two of them like the one back there, but it is a common theme in some of these. They're probably all built by the same developer at the time. That one is probably a newer one, not a refurbished older one. Here's Toronto Street. Oh, well, that's nice. Well, this is where he lives. Well, not here, but this is the city. A portion of the city, a small portion of the city. These walks only cover a small portion of the city because I can only be so many places. And even if you walk for an hour, you don't cover that much of the city, wherever you are. This will be almost an hour walk, and all I've done is go up one street a few blocks and back again. Abu Dhabi. Must be the middle of the night over there. Guess that's why you have time to watch random YouTubers walking around cities halfway around the planet. Now this one on the corner is quite an interesting house. I've been in this one. Very grand for its time. And has been kept up nicely. I think it has a plaque, this one. Yes, it does. The Flood residence, constructed in 1913 by a prominent land broker. And again, whenever I point at something close up, the horizon gets wonky. Yeah, mostly it's pretty clean. It's going to be quite dirty in the spring when the snow melts before they sweep the streets. We don't have a lot of litter. I mean, this is a nice area. There are less nice areas where it's probably not as clean looking, but generally every place I walk in Regina looks pretty clean. Oh, now there, just a little apartment building that was thrown in. Replaced some old building. Oh, and something's been torn down on this corner too. I can't remember what was there. Actually, it looks like probably 2 or 3 properties torn down. Presumably that means it's something. That's the Regina General Hospital down there, just a block north of here. Presumably at some point something is supposed to get built here, but at the moment it's just an empty lot. Thanks for checking in, Alice, if that's your name. Not really my neighborhood, but not too far away. Yeah, those rounded windows, Romanesque, were definitely a developer feature at the time because they pop up over and over in various ways along here. Like there, that one has them too in a way. Halifax Street, as I mentioned, another city-named street. Here, if you look over there now, you can see St. Chad's, now developed into condos, but the outside of the building is still historic. Apartment building. This one doesn't have a for rent sign, but I've passed many of similar style that do, many that do. This parking lot, I always wonder, because it's right up against this house, which I've been in. This used to belong to Ernie Cassian, who was a music director for many shows I was in. Used to own this house, and I was in there. It's very nice. Don't know if it's a house still. It looks abandoned because are empty. Well, no, there's lights on. There's no curtains, which makes me think it might be being used as an office of some sort. Another nice, large house on this corner. Largish. Osler Street. Now, Osler, I do not believe is named after another city in Canada. It's named after a prominent citizen of one time or another. As we get back towards Broad Street, and then we just go a couple of blocks down that way and we're done. That's quite a good sized one too. Rather striking. And then here, I've always liked this apartment building. Kind of a Spanish look to it. And it's called the Madrid Apartments. Oh, there's one for rent. You're asking about rent. There's one for rent here. So we will cross here, a couple of more blocks, and we are back at the condo where I have to go in and take books up out of the car. That's a long and attractive apartment building that's been there for a very long time now. For as long as I've been coming to Regina and noticing these things. There you go, looking up Broad Street again. This house on the corner used to be a coffee shop, but it's been a computer repair center for quite a while. Computer clinic. This one here was completely lifted up off of its foundation at one point and everything redone, and it's quite attractive. It has offices in it. It's not a house. I was in it once. At the time there was a film company, I think it was, in there. Hello, NYC Bubbles. Almost done, I'm afraid. This is at the tail end of the walk. Again, this is a nice looking older apartment building. I've never been in it. I've always been curious what the apartments are like. So, there's the college building that I mentioned, the front of the warehouse, soundstage. Now, it's just a facade. Everything inside it was completely gutted and made modern. I'm not sure what's in here now. It used to be the Cooperator's Insurance, I think, because that's what was on this rather grand granite sign out front, but currently there's nothing on the sign, so I don't know what, if anything, is in there. It's a large building. It certainly has offices in it. But I don't know what is currently occupying it. It has an address on it, 1920 College Avenue. Over there's the Frog that I toured at the start of this walk. And I'll just turn down Hamilton here again and stop momentarily. So how long did that finally take in the end? 33 minutes. So yeah, it's a bit short, but not my... Well, I used to say these were all an hour, but actually because of all the time commitments I have now, I tend to keep the walks shorter than I used to, but I try to keep doing them at least. And I keep hoping that I will get back into the swing of doing them the way I used to, but every morning it's like, but I got all this to do, I got that to do, and that to do, and that to do. Taking an hour out to walk just seems like a huge problem from a time management point of view. All right, we will cross Hamilton here. I managed to step in like the only puddle in sight. All of the parking in these two buildings is underground. On this one, the parking's on the main floor as you just drive in, which has its advantages, especially in bad weather. I don't know why, but I think for some reason they couldn't dig here. And I will stop with this lovely view of the space between the condos. So thank you for walking with me, and hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. Bye for now.